As the sun sets, the coffin lids rise, and the creatures of the night awake. We greet you. This is the Mourning Show.
Here at the Mourning Show, we strive to bring you the latest news, music, product and entertainment reviews, travel, cuisine, and interviews with the people you loathe the most. But first, to see what the night shall bring, we go to the local lunatic, Witch Hazel. So, what's the foreshadowing forecast?
The lunar phase for tonight, Friday the 20th of June, 2014, is the last quarter. The moon is in the zodiac sign of Aries.
Yes, Witch Hazel. A last quarter. Does that mean that this is the last days?
Sorry. I just had a really bad sneeze. I'm really sorry, guys.
Okay,
I didn't hear it.
well,
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry, Jack. Sorry about that.
it's okay. I'll edit it out later.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Would you like me to say the line again?
Yes, would you?
Ah, yes, Witch Hazel. Since it's the last quarter, does that mean that we are at the last days?
You cut out. I can't hear what you're saying.
I made a reference to the end of the world.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me adjust real quick. I love this. I'm hearing you perfectly until we start broadcasting. Okay. Hold on. Crap. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay. Let me just adjust this really quick. Hold on. Okay, screw the headphones.
Right.
Let's try this without the headphones. Okay. Okay. Can you guys speak now? Let me hear you.
Yes. Hello?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. Okay, we're good. All right. So go ahead.
What I said was, Witch Hazel. Since it's the last quarter, does that mean that we are at the last days?
Well, I don't know, but hopefully we can have a little fun. Maybe I can brew something up for you.
Kelly, goddess of death. Kali, goddess of death. Are we at the last of our days?
Well, we've been predicting that for quite some time, but it hasn't happened yet. I will be waiting for you guys in the afterlife.
To chew on our corpses. But first, we shall see what dark things await for us in the morning noose. Stock up on garlic and steaks, because Estonian researchers think they have discovered the final resting place of the world's most famous vampire, and they're asking permission to crack open the tomb. Vlad III Dracula was known for ruling 15th century Eastern Europe with a bloody fist, earning the nickname the Impaler for his pioneering work in the art of torture. His bag of terrifying tricks includes strangulation, burning, cutting off noses and ears, scalping, skinning, exposure to the elements or to wild animals, and boiling alive. But his favorite method of punishment was impaling his enemies on giant stakes outside of the city, a warning to anyone who dared challenge his rule. And he did all of this to protect Christian Europe from the Ottoman Empire. His gruesome tactics, coupled with pervasive... You know, guys, we can hear you.
Can you?
Oh, yeah. We heard you guys tell us to show up, too. Welcome to Live Rail. Here, guys, I'm going to interrupt Live Rail here. Yes, if I was on a laptop, I'd bring it out and show them. Come on out from behind there, guys.
If they're going to come out, can we at least get a little show?
Yeah.
I mean, are they worth that? I mean,
come on, guys. Remember, it's video record, too. Come on out. We want you guys to strip.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Kelly. You think would your husband be a little upset about that?
Oh, he was saying, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, come on. Come on, Josh. Come on, Jade. You know you guys want.
They're coming to model the velvet garden clothes.
Yes, we're gonna model for you girls. Yeah. I think they don't believe that I'm really on the air because they can't hear you guys. I should plug in my speaker.
You could say that you're Jacques the Impaler, and you could be quiet down. I'm on air, guys.
Well,
I don't know. Considering
well,
he impaled them when he impaled them from the ass up, that could be a little kinky for them.
yeah, that's the joke I was going to make. Yeah. Hey guys, can I impale you guys? I promise I'll do so from behind. What's funny is that the moment that we hit end recording, this is going straight to YouTube unedited.
Yeah.
I know, that's the best part. Yeah. So at least YouTube's going to hear these jokes, and there's no way YouTube won't hear this joke.
Yeah, exactly.
So if any of you guys want to have fun, little guys on YouTube, just come to Yavapai College and ask for Josh and they will love. Oh look, there they are. Hello, boy. Yeah, you pretty little boy. Oh. Okay. Sorry
Okay,
about
it happens.
that. I told you guys we had a few babies here. Okay. Here, let me go and shut the door. I think they didn't shut it. Life in a dorm, guys. Life in a dorm. So, Joanna, are you happy that you missed dorm life?
I never wanted to do dorm life. I've had too many female family members have very terrible things happen to them in co-ed dorms.
Yeah. Our dorms are co-ed too.
Hold on.
That's okay.
Fuck.
Seal? Anyway.
Okay.
Right. So I'll go from where I left off.
Okay. All right.
His gruesome tactics, coupled with the pervasive rumor that Vlad drank the blood of his enemies, has long been thought to be the inspiration for Bram Stoker's 1897 novel, Dracula. While Vlad's reign of terror is well documented, no one could ever figure out exactly what happened to him. In 1476, sorry, I think they opened up the door again. Tonight's just not going good, is it?
The first time, it never goes well.
Well, this isn't the first time, it's the fourth time.
Well, that's true. It's the first time for me, so I'm like, the first time, there's always a million problems.
Yeah, anyway. In or out, guys, in or out. I swear, girls, they just want to be on the radio tonight.
I'm actually, you guys are going to lose picture from me, because my phone battery's going down. Okay. You're going to lose picture from me because my phone battery's dying, so I've got to pull the dock up on the tablet, so sorry about that.
It's no, it's fine.
That's fine. Usually Jack and I are the only people that are viewed on here anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Jan, Collie can actually confirm that this kind of problem has never occurred before while we were recording, ever.
You know, this is the first time I'm doing this at Asha's, and she's being very understanding because her attitude is this is the first time like I'm doing this, so she's being understanding.
Yeah, no, my roommates have never caused a problem before. They're just
they've never come in the room while he's recording.
Yeah, ever. So they're just. I think they're doing it on purpose.
They heard about drinking blood and impalement, and they said, "Let's take part in this."
No. So, anyway. Oh, you know what? Look, are you guys actually going out now? I am. Okay, well. By the way, this does go straight on to YouTube, and there's nothing that I can do about it, guys. So, I hope you're happy being a YouTube star. How many more minutes before you're out? No? Hey, close the door behind me, please. Okay. I don't think he closed the door, but maybe he's... Why? Why tonight? Whenever all of us are on time constraints.
And of course, here comes the baby.
Well, I think you've heard the old saying, when it rains, it pours.
Come on, Debbie.
Guppy, little baby. We're gonna have a lot of bloopers from tonight. Guppy, booby, baby. And here for our Gothic parenting segment.
Aunt Joey can't play right now. Auntie Joey can't play. Bye-bye.
Yes, and Joey can't play for the Gothic parenting segment. And the Gothic parenting segment has begun.
She doesn't know, and so she wants to come in and see what's going on.
Lovey, baby. And what's your name?
So, okay, we ready?
Yeah, just while you were gone, we went into the Gothic parenting segment.
She hears people she doesn't know.
Lovey, baby. What's the baby's name?
Her name's Evelyn.
Oh, hello, Evelyn. We love you so much.
She already left the room. Her mom came and got her.
Okay. It's a lovely name.
Oh, she's a sweetie. She's an adorable, just sweet little thing. So.
You know how you were talking about goth shorts on YouTube? There's a goth short with a girl called Evelyn. It's I forget the name. I'll send it to you whenever we do that segment. It's beautiful. It's like Evelyn, the evilest little dead girl.
Oh, I think I've seen that one.
You probably have. It's been out since 2009.
Ah, dang it. So, all right, we're going to go back? Are we good for recording again?
Oh, we never stopped.
Oh, okay.
We can't stop, so.
Oh, I know now we can't stop recording, but I'm saying, are we ready for, like, to continue with the actual, like, show?
To end the blooper part, yes, I hope so.
Yes.
It's my attempt. Anyway. While Vlad's reign of terror is well documented, no one could ever figure out exactly what happened to him. In 1476, the Impaler suddenly disappeared during battle, never to return. Many sources claimed that Vlad was killed, but a few reports mentioned the notorious ruler being hauled away in chains. Now, a group of researchers believe that Vlad was ransomed to his daughter, who had married a Neapolitan nobleman and lived the rest of his days in Naples, Italy, where he was buried in a church. Erica Stella, a student who was writing her dissertation on Naples' Piazza Santa Maria la Nuova Church, uncovered a curious headstone that experts are saying belongs to Dracula himself. Raffaello Glini, a medieval history scholar, noticed that the tomb is covered in symbols representing the house of the Transylvanian Carpathians. something very out of place in a crypt full of Italian noblemen. When you look at the bas relief, I think they forgot either. When you look at the bas relief sculptures, the symbolism is obvious. The dragon means Dracula, and the two opposing sphinxes represent the city of thieves, also known as Tepes. In these symbols, the very name of the count, Dracula Tepes, is written, Glennie told reporters. So naturally, the researchers are... Can you guys hear my roommates?
Not really.
Mm-mm.
Okay. That's right. So naturally, the researchers are appealing to the authorities for permission to open the grave, releasing Dracula from his ancient slumber, where he'll reinstate his bloody reign of terror on an unsuspecting world. Or perhaps just prove their hunch. But honestly, is it really worth the risk?
I don't think it's worth the risk because, like as stated, I've read the Dracula by Bram Stoker. I've been to the play Dracula by Bram Stoker, presented as a storytelling. And I just think if they open it, they're going to find him still breathing. And this might sound far-fetched, but what if the anthropological, archaeological researcher that opens the tomb is his first victim?
Then we obviously have a bad Hammer horror movie on our hands.
But do the undead really breathe? You said still breathing. I'm not sure he breathes.
That he is still awake then.
Well, you know what? If I recall the end of the book, I believe he was slayed. So why would he still be around if, he was staked,
Well, he always comes back.
It's all mystery. He disappeared, he was staked, he was...
Dracula always comes back.
So you mean opening it might be a mistake?
Yes.
Well, this episode's going to need a lot of editing, but now you're supposed to read the next news story, Lena, because it's yours. So I'm going to head out and say that.
Oh, this one's mine? I did not know that was mine. Okay.
It's green. You're of absinthe.
Oh, I didn't know that was my color. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, also in the morning news, Goth fly a kite in Cape Elizabeth, Maine. Thousands flocked to Fort Williams Park on a recent Saturday afternoon to lounge in the grass, barbecue, and soak up some rays on a blue-skied 80-degree day. One group, however, infused a dose of darkness and macabre, if only by its fashion sense, into an otherwise bright afternoon. Black corsets, black kilts, and black combat boots highlighted the monochromatic fashion parade at the 13th annual Goth Fly a Kite Party, the centerpiece of the biggest weekend of the year for a greater Portland Goths community. Gotta love it. It's even a lucky number. Goth Fly a Kite started as a way to expand social avenues for the local goth scene, a community bound by its shared sense of spooky aesthetics beyond the club nights that have been held across Portland for nearly 20 years. We wanted to do something social other than getting drunk in a club, said Wally Fenderson. Now, that is a noble, noble feat. I will give him that. Who DJs at Plague, a weekly goth dance party at Asylum on Center Street, which has been the scene's home base for 7 years. The first year it rained, and only 6 kite flyers turned out, said Ian Graham, who founded the event. But it's grown steadily over time, and on June 7th, over 100 people came to picnic, drink a few beers, and of course fly kites in full goth regalia. Only beer? Oh, I was hoping they would have some absinthe. Yeah, tanning was not part of the equation. Tanning was not part of the equation. A ghostly white complexion is a common part of the goth look, and there was plenty of sunblock being passed around, plus a few parasols. Still, some folks wound up with the lobster red shoulders and backs. A few people, perhaps priming the next generation of goths, brought young children. The kids didn't bat an eyelash at all the mohawk haircuts, tattoos, and pierced lips, or at the guy in the long dark robe with the cross-painted face.
Why would they? It was their parents.
Exactly. Graham attributes the Portland scene's longevity and the success of the events such as Goth Fly a Kite to a strong foundation of regulars and an inclusive group that embraces newcomers and those just beginning to learn about the culture. I've watched a lot of scenes come and go in the time we've been here. They'll be really big for a year or two and then fade away, Graham said, noting the decline and fall of the rave scene, the swing music boom, and the that hit the city in the late 1990s. That we have people that have been coming for 10 years, so there's a consistency of community. We're the longest-running subculture in Portland. Goth Fly a Kite weekend kicked off with Plague on June 6th. After invading Fort Williams Park, the crew returned to Asylum on Saturday for another night of dancing to goth rock and industrial music. Bands such as The Cure, 9 Inch Nails, and Combi Christ were among the most popular, and closed the weekend with Sunday brunch at the Sillies on Washington Avenue. For some attendees, the biggest challenge was deciding what to wear to all of these events, and I think that would probably be my choice. I love my corsets, but I think I would want something looser for this kind of thing. Katie Warren, 24, wore a black and white polka dot dress with a black sun hat and dramatic swooping eyeliner at Fort Williams Park. For the after party, she planned a corseted dress, corseted, a nod to Goth's enduring fascination with Victorian fashion. I was always attracted to the darker aesthetic, Warren said. To be quite frank, this community has been more of a family to me than my own family. I had a lot of issues in my childhood and not a very close-knit family. And a lot of people I've met here have been super supportive to me in so many ways. This weekend is so special to me. This community is so special. And I honestly agree with that. I think that being the Gothic subculture is something that is very encompassing and very accepting of people who are different. I agree with her entirely. What do you two think?
Well, yeah,
I agree as well.
I, as I've mentioned in other episodes, was raised within the scene, and we've always had gothniks, picnics in cemeteries, and they've always been wonderful, and this just seems like a variant of it. It makes me actually think, wait a minute here, on these windy days, why don't I ever bring my kite with me, and I can go fly a kite in the cemetery at my gothnik with my loved ones and my friends. It's just a brilliant idea, and we've had within the scene, we've got the Treffin and all those other events. We always have gothniks. Yes, brilliant. Why did we never think about bringing our kites? Makes perfect sense, actually.
Exactly. The only thing that would make it complete for me is if it was in a cemetery at night with the tea and the biscuits and the kite and no sun at all.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And that's very lovely. Later on in the show, we're going to be talking about something else, and I'm going to also mention doing it at night to avoid that horrible big Death Star.
And I would like to actually say, as somebody who is actually physically allergic to sunlight, I adore the idea of a nighttime actual picnic in a graveyard, and I really wish graveyards had evening hours. I think that if they had evening hours and were more accepting of the goth culture, I would pay $10 to picnic on a grave. I would do that. I think it would be a great financial endeavor for them personally.
Well, Lena, here where I live, we have a graveyard that its big open doors do close, but it has a little a hole in it that is meant for people to walk through, that there is no door, and people actually can walk through it at night. And it is only 2 blocks away from my house. So one of these days, we need to get you up over here, and you and I need to have a lovely little gothnik in my local cemetery. It'll be quite lovely, although I cannot guarantee that the police won't come.
As long as you don't mind me wearing my Gothic Lolita. If I'm going to have a tea party in the cemetery, I go completely Gothic Lolita.
Perfect. And you know what? I know what to do when the police come because I've done it before. And that is, they'll come, what's going on here? Oh, we're just having a lovely little picnic. Come on in. Yeah, sit down. We have enough for you, too.
Yeah, when you offer them crumpets, they get a little weird.
Yeah, the local police, as our listeners know, are not big fans of me. So
no.
Yeah.
No, Kali, I heard there's some interesting stuff going on in the Harry Potter community.
Yes, for any Harry Potter fans, it is official. The Diagon Alley section of Harry Potter Land at Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida, is opening July 8th of this year. There has been many unveilings about this event, and the attraction has been said by actors Fred, George, and Ginny to be pretty close to the movie itself, so get your tickets now. Those who have seen the Harry Potter films know that Diagon Alley was home to plenty of grim happenings, with dark characters like the Death Eaters, Dementors, Gringotts goblins, and even Lord Voldemort.
See, I've always abhorrently loathed Diagon and Nocturne Alley. They're so reminiscent of great Victorian works like The Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti, and it's as refreshing as Moonlight to see an author who won't talk down to their audience and draws inspiration from such amazing classical and dark works.
And, you know, how could I ever turn down such an alley as Nocturne? I mean, that kind of sounds like a place that I would like to go to. I've never been to Universal Studios in either of its locations, so I don't know what it's all about. And I'm not a fan of Harry Potter and all that stuff, but I do acknowledge it's darker and gothic tones. And, you know, I just might be enticed to look into it after hearing of a Nocturne Alley.
And Kylie, I hear that Robert Englund will be putting on his tight leather pants to take up the Freddy mantle again.
Of course, in horror news this week, we were thought that we'd say that this would be the last day that Robert Englund, would also known as Freddy Krueger, would be slapping on that makeup and reprising the role. However, it is happening again. However, this announcement has nothing to do with the Freddy franchise movies. In celebration of Nightmare on Elm Street, 30th anniversary, Englund will be appearing at Chicago's Flashback Weekend convention in full Freddy Krueger makeup and an outfit for one night only. The Flashback Weekend will take place August 8th. Tickets are available at www.flashbackweekend.com. As well.
Sorry.
Okay. If you want to follow up on that, I can do the next news segment after you follow up.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you know, being such a fan of the Freddy franchise, it was my first slasher franchise growing up. I really wish I was able to get to Chicago for this. I want everyone who's listening to this in Chicago to get tickets for me, and just post it on Facebook, post it everywhere. I want to see amazing pictures of this everywhere you can. It would be amazing. Love you all if you do.
Yeah, and you know,
and I am
love you all if you do.
I am extremely jealous since Chicago's my hometown, so I will try and see if any goths can go to this event for me.
Yeah, and you know what? For me personally, Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise was also something that was there ever since my childhood. Some of my very, very first memories, I'm weird. I have memories back to like age 2.5, and some of my first memories are actually of my parents and I and my younger sister watching the Nightmare on Elm Street films. In fact, it was like one of my most clearest Nightmare on Elm Street memories from little childhood. It was Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I clearly remember that film as a child, and I loved Nightmare on Elm Street. It was so weird. I had a little Freddy Krueger action figure, a little Freddy Krueger, doll, and I played with it all the time, and I absolutely adored it. And so, yeah, it's been there ever since my childhood as well. Hey, Colleen. Yeah. I know that you're scripted to read this next part, but you've just read 2 news stories in a row. I'm going to head out in my stance, but I think Lena should actually read the one about the pagan festival. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Now, for my fellow Gothic pagans, the harvest season is upon us, and of course, all of us are celebrating in our own special ways. Can I say that again? I don't like the fact that I said special. It's so stupid.
Yeah, go ahead.
For my fellow Gothic pagans, the harvest season is upon us, and all of us are celebrating in our own loathsome ways. Midsummer is a time we reflect on our year and share what we will or have harvested. Now, Midsummer also referred to as the masculine festival of St. John, is a period of time centered upon the summer solstice, and more specifically, the Northern European celebrations that accompany the actual solstice. That takes place between June 21st and 25th. Many events take place for this day, such as calling to the ancestors, as well as large ritualistic bonfires, and of course, since it is a fire festival and also it's kind of a fertility festival on top of being a harvest festival. There were very, very fun things that would happen around those bonfires, but if your bonfires are public, make sure to tone down. You don't want to get arrested.
That's why you go out in the woods. I mean, I was a part of the SCA for 6 years, and we had some interesting things around our bonfires in the middle of the forest. Lena, by the way, if I recall, Midsummer has a very special name. What is the name in which pagans call this festival?
Well, that depends on the sect, so I'm not really sure what you're asking.
Well, tell us what your sect is calling it.
Midsummer.
I believe there's some name. Is this the Midsummer one? Is that the Lebanon?
I think you're thinking of Lugnatius. Are you thinking of Lugnatius?
Is that the name for it?
I think you're thinking of Lugnatius, and that is not Midsummer. That's the one between Midsummer and Samhain.
So that one's later. Okay, well,
yes,
I guess
that one's
you know
in
which one's
September.
So, and we've already passed the May Day one. What is that one called again?
That is Beltane, and that is actually my birthday. Well, Beltane Eve is my birthday. I share it with the amazingly loathsome Amanda Palmer. She is so talented.
So we don't currently know the name for this one, huh?
Midsummer. Most people, yeah. I'm sure there are as many names for it as there are many sects that celebrate it, but the most common way to refer to it is just Midsummer. So.
Well, and it being Midsummer, there are many shows coming our way. We continue from last week with reporting on the weekly whereabouts of Peter Murphy's current tour. So, for tonight, Friday, June the 20th, he shall be in Chicago. Again, Chicago. Aren't you feeling a bit jealous?
I'm so jealous of you.
You know, I'm going to admit I wouldn't usually be jealous of Chicago, no offense to anyone from Chicago, but I'm feeling it right now.
Well, he'll be at the Double Doors. But, you know, I love Chicago. I love Chicago pizza. I love Chicago hot dogs. I love Chicago food. I love Chicago in every way except for the fact that, you know, you're likely to get shot.
You know, it's interesting. I'm from the Midwest just like she is. I'm actually from Toledo, Ohio, and it's always surprising how safe people think that part of the country is because it's not. It's actually pretty horrible. It's pretty horrifying to live in. Some of the most gruesome and fun to read about murders happen in the Midwest.
Yes, and also, for our listeners to know, Lena and I are currently in the state of Arizona, and no shootings happen here. I mean, do you expect guns in Arizona?
No, but it is literally hell here. It was 110 degrees today in Phoenix.
Not where I am.
You could get attacked by a tumbleweed.
Hey, I'll just say this. Where I am in Arizona, it's only 73 degrees right now.
And I want to hit you. I just want to throw you into a coffin and stake you, leave you in a torpor. On top of that, you know, Peter Murphy tour dates are also going to be June 21st in Omaha at the Waiting Room, June 22nd in Kansas City, June 24th in Denver, and Wednesday in a city that has a very, very close place, just loathsome little corner of my heart, Salt Lake City at the Depot. Now, we're going to actually be reviewing Salt Lake City later in this show, but for those of you who have been there, at the Depot is just a great place to go. The people who work there are loathsome, they love everyone, and this was actually the first time I ever went to a Dresden Dolls concert, and it was just absolutely a horrid night. I loved it so much. It was just the most loathsomely amazing night. So at the Depot.
And of course, don't forget Friday, June the 27th in Vancouver, British Columbia, I believe that's Canada, at Rickshaw Theatre. And you know, there was also a place that's very close to my heart. Listen here, the Tuesday, June 24th, in Denver, Colorado, at Summit Music Hall. I have a lot of friends who live in Denver and friends who love Peter Murphy. and I hope they really enjoy that show as well.
And then, of course, on Saturday, June 26th, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go into the next one, Jack. You go into. I thought that was one that was an extension of the Peter Murphy one. Sorry about that.
Right. And though, let me try again. And beyond Peter Murphy's tour, although this next show that I shall mention is a month away, those who live in the States should plan it, for it is far away, in a land that we love, and hopefully some of us just got back from Wave Gothic Treffen, and that is the band Clan of Zymox. On Saturday, the 26th of July, shall play at the Amphi Festival in Cologne, Germany.
You know, I have always wanted to go to Germany. I hear it is an absolutely just such an place, just as far as Germany's considered. I hear so many just beautiful, lonesome things about it. Everyone's always saying how all of the people there are so angry. No, I'm kidding. No, I would love to go to Germany. I have a lot of friends who are from Germany. I have a lot of family members who lived in Germany and are from Germany, and I hear that they have just so many beautiful and dark, old, very old things to see, which we unfortunately here in the United States just don't get. I mean, I grew up around a lot of amazing Victorian homes, but nothing before about 1850. And so, unless you go down to Tucson, where you can actually see an old mission that's been around since about the 1500s, but really, I think Germany is an amazing place because it has so much dark, amazing Gothic architecture. I'm not gonna lie, I'm loathsomely jealous of them.
And for those who missed the first episode of our show, they should listen to it as we do a lovely review of Germany in that episode. But, Collie, is there any further news in which you would like to share?
This Saturday, June 21st, Scarlet returns to Artifice with DJs Morpheus Black and Style, as always guiding you on a journey through the sounds of goth, death rock, industrial, and dark 80s in Las Vegas, Nevada. Seattle's July morning market has been canceled due to one of the widows recovering from surgery, making her unable to co-run the show, but of course, we will see you at the next one, which I believe is in the next 4 months. They always have great trinkets and creative collectibles for us darkly inclined people. Finally, Portland's...
Of course. And all of us here at the Mourning Show love and support mourning markets. And of course, who doesn't love widows and orphans? We need more of them all the time. Oh, no, wait. Is that not nice to say?
And finally, Portland's Brickbat Mansion will be celebrating their 5-year anniversary on Thursday, July 3rd. So if you want a little pre-4th of July buzz and want to help out a goth club that is near and dear to us, hop on over to Brickbat Mansion.
Brickbat Mansion. You know, I've never actually been. Are the bricks? Do they actually look like bats?
No, but you know that might be on my list to include in some future decorum that I come up with for my decor page.
Yes,
that'll be mentioned in another show as one of my DIY, pronounced die.
Yes, you know what? That just gave me an idea. Can you imagine a building made of black bricks, and the bricks are all shaped like bats? Of course, they'd have to be very special shaped bats so they'll fit together, but I believe it could be done.
Oh, I do too. If there are any contractors out there of the Gothic persuasion, if you actually do this, send us some pictures. I think we would loathe to see it.
So, Coley, I just want to mention you did sign again that in the scenario that you did last week. You put in non-music and band news after the music and band segment. I'm going to have to edit that back in above the band music segment again. You realize that, right?
Yeah, I do realize that. I thought that I was going to mention maybe you could move it down before the show, but apparently that didn't happen.
We ran out of time, too much shenanigans from everyone. It's okay. Just in the future, please, if it is not related to an upcoming show or concert, don't put it in that segment. Okay?
Okay.
Anyway, this is a place where I would have to add anyway since we're playing music during this point. So now I'm going to go into the cuisine segment. Let's all get down there. And don't worry about the Undead Pure Lori. Just like before episode 1 ever aired, I was originally going to do Undead Pure Lori, so that's what I'm going to do now. He's still part of the show. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, here we go. So don't worry about mine, I have it.
Okay.
Ah, and those dark melodies bring a rumbly to my Gothic tummy, and so I shall fill it with more ghastly recipes from our ghoulish Gothic riddle. For tonight we shall make bloody compost. No, if it is bloody, they will find the body. For the dressing you shall need 1 beet pureed, 2 large tomatoes, 1 cup of raspberry vinegar. For the salad, 6 leaves of red leaf lettuce, 6 leaves of romaine lettuce, 6 leaves of red spinach, 6 leaves of green spinach, and a cup of kidney beans to add kidneys. And for the toppings, 6 cherry. I'm going to have to add the kidney beans in there, don't worry. And for the toppings, 6 cherry tomatoes, 6 pickled baby beets, 6 kidney beans, 6 pumpernickel croutons, 1/4, it was a cup of kidney beans, 6 pumpernickel croutons, 1/4 cup of black sesame seeds, 1/3 cup of black truffle cheese, 1/3 cup feta cheese, 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds roasted, and 1/2 a cup of kidney beans. Wrap the beets in aluminium foil. Yes. Then bake it in an oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour. I love it. Then put it in a blender with the raspberry vinaigrette and puree. Oh, yes! Now, eviscerate the large tomatoes. I love evisceration. And throw their guts in a bowl with the pureed vinaigretted beets. Just look at that chunky, bloody mess. I bet it is so tasty. Now, abandon it. I love it when we do that. Take a plate and arrange upon it the lettuce and spinach, adding whatever other victims you wish. Yes, yes, add more victims. Pour over it the chunky, bloody mess. Yes. Yes! Now throw on top of it the cherry tomatoes, pickled baby. I love pickled babies. Beets! And pumpernickel croutons and kidneys. Oh, black bread and kidneys sounds so delicious. Black sesame seeds, like the little black seeds of our hearts. Black truffle cheese. Evil cheese, feta cheese, to give it that pus look, and roasted pumpkin seeds, the guts of Jack Pumpkinhead. And isn't that compost just criminal?
Oh, criminal indeed. It sounds to die for, and the perfect drink to go with this compost amalgamy is a bloody orange Mary. To concoct this tale you shall need 4 cups bottled tomato juice, 1 cup aquavit or vodka, 3/4 a cup fresh blood orange or regular orange juice from 4 oranges.
Or just 3/4 cup blood.
Oh, blood. And a 3/4 cup fresh lemon juice from 3 lemons.
To give you
One
that bitterness that's needed for goths.
Yes. What's a goth lemon? And a tablespoon of prepared horseradish for that, bite. And a teaspoon of hot sauce, such as Tabasco.
And you just muted yourself. Carly, you muted yourself. But it's okay, I have something to add in there. But I do want you to unmute yourself first. You muted yourself. You're gone. You're muted. It's not fair. There we go. Oh, you're muted again. You unmute yourself and then you remute yourself. You are muted.
I hit the mute button. I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally hit the mute button. I'm sorry.
You muted her? Anyway, it's okay.
I didn't. I was trying to mute myself because I was gonna blow my nose. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys.
Well, back to this wonderful recipe.
Wait. Before you go back to the recipe, I'm going to add in something I'm going to add in before you get to the Tabasco sauce. And then you can pick up from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, because I was going to make a joke. Anyway, it's funny. Listen to this. Ah, yes, horseradish. And although it says prepared, maybe you should just grind it slowly on a grinder fresh to get the tears coming out of our eyes. And wait, is there anything else that can bring tears to us?
Tabasco hot sauce. For the spice is just killing me. And then you add some salt and extra freshly ground black pepper. You finish it off with some ice cubes and make it even darker by making them bat-shaped. And you garnish this.
Bake them with grape juice so they're purplish black.
Of course. Some grapey bats, and then you garnish the blood and tomato wedges with fennel or cucumber spears or cilantro or whatever your darn black heart is pleasing. You whisk it together, the tomato juice, the aquavit, vodka, the blood orange juice and lemon, horseradish, and sauce in a large pitcher. Season with the salt and ground black pepper, and pour into 6 ice-filled skull glasses, and garnish each with an orange wedge, a tomato wedge, and fennel or cucumber spear, or whatever your darn black heart pleases.
But wait a minute, you said orange wedge, but earlier you said a blood wedge. Could it possibly be to merge them and get a blood orange wedge?
Well, Well, as far as that goes, how about the blood orange pomegranate mimosas?
Ooh, tell us about it, Lena.
We get 3 cups chilled blood orange juice, 3 cups chilled pomegranate juice, 1 bottle of chilled sparkling wine, such as Prosecco, and half a cup of pomegranate seeds. We combine the blood orange and pomegranate juice in a nice pitcher. Divide it up among 10 flutes. Top each with Prosecco. I'm saying that wrong. Is it Prosecco or Prosecco?
I don't know.
Unfortunately, I'm more of a lover of red wine, so my white wine's a little lacking, but...
You could top it with sparkling red wine. It's rare, but it exists.
It does. Ooh, that sounds great. That sounds absolutely despicable. Top each with Prosecco, garnish with some pomegranate seeds, the true forbidden fruit, and enjoy.
Exquisite.
Well, we were looking for a red wine for that. Earlier in the store today, under, what was the company? There was a rose wine produced by the company that puts out Apothic Red. There is Apothic Rose, and that might work with it.
That is a very, very just despicable wine, very much on my list. Had it about 3 times. It would do very well. It's a nice pale pink. Doesn't give you the delicious bloodiness of a deep red wine, but it's a good mix, nice earthy tones. Would work very well with pomegranate juice.
Yes, but you know,
still have the sparkling without the white wine.
No, it's a blush, a nice little blush.
But you know, in all this speech of wine and pomegranate, it might stain our lovely fashions. Ah, but then again, we love our red fashions. And it is, as mentioned earlier, midsummer. So you know what that means. We have midsummer fashions. Ooh, what are midsummer goth fashions?
Midsummer goth fashions are trying desperately not to die in our black clothes in the heat, even though death would be an amazing reprieve. If we died, we wouldn't be able to see Peter Murphy. At least not yet.
Oh, but he's God. We will see him when we die, of course. He will greet us with his arms spread out like the wings of a bat.
Now, for those of you who, like me, are completely inclusive of all the different sections of the Gothic subculture, I like to go, and I want to point out that I don't want to upset anyone on this because I know quite a few people don't like it. I tend to go very pastel goth in the summer. Once again, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and have what is called solar urticaria, which means I have a legitimate allergy to the sun. Black clothes in the sunlight here are very dangerous, so I like to dress, be able to have my gothiness and enjoy my darkness, but maybe a little lighter. My pastel goth clothes give me the ability to do that. I will wear all white, including white lipstick, white eyeliner, sometimes even white wigs. I will go completely opposite.
Your sound cut out. Lena. Earth to Lena. Lena,
You're
Lena.
muted, Lena.
She's gone now. It's okay. It will give me a perfect place to cut in with what I wanted to say.
Mm.
Silence!
You can talk until it comes back.
Silence! I cannot stand these horrible misconceptions and wrongful notions from the modern world. You know, it is untrue that black clothing is necessarily warmer than lighter clothing. Look at the Arabic world. You see those men riding on their camels and their horses in the desert. And although you do see some wearing white, what do you see? You see some wearing black. And are they overheated? No, they are not. And you know why? Because, in all truthfulness, black clothing is not warmer in the sun. It all depends on what fabrics you are dealing with and how the clothing drape upon you. For instance,
very true. Very true. Which is one of the reasons black works just as well with the amazing pastel goth that I like. But I will agree with you. Sometimes I think summer calls for some lighter cottons, not for the heavy velvets or leathers that we may enjoy in our winter wear.
Yes, but you cannot pass up other goth faves which are quite cooling as well as cool, like silk. Silk is very, very cooling. It sucks up the moisture and it breathes lovely. Also, there's a fabric called Georgette, and it as well sucks up moisture so you're not sweating and is very airy. There are many things. And linen, how can we forget linen? Linen as well, same concept. These are clothing that in the Middle East you see men and women wear draping around their body in black, and yet they are not overly warm. In fact, they are quite cool. I have many times worn black clothing draped over my body in summer and been cooler than the people who are wearing pink or white. because they were wearing a fabric which did not breathe well, and they were wearing short sleeve white shirt, whereas I'm wearing this long sleeve beautiful black poet shirt, and I'm iceberg chilly cold. And they wondered, how can you do this? How can you not sweat? Ah, it is all in the fabric, you know. And so do not think that summer necessarily necessitates you wearing lighter colors or less clothing. No, you can wear whatever clothing you want. Just you might want to think about certain fabrics, and you really, and I can tell this from experience, don't wear PVC in the summer in a hot car. Many years ago, I wore a PVC skirt, a black, beautiful PVC long skirt in a hot car, and I tell you what, I had some roast nuts.
And you probably stuck yourself to the seat, too.
Yes, I did.
Sorry, I got lost there for a minute, guys. It exceeded my data limit. I'm on a tablet.
Uh-huh. It's okay. I cut you off in a very creative way. Anyway, we're not done talking about, but now you guys can talk about the footwear, gypsy legwear, blumas, and parasols, and hydration and sunscreen. I'm actually going to get a drink.
Okay. Well, Kelly, I don't know. Have you ever tried some of the bloomers or light petticoats that are so popular in the Lolita fashion?
Yes, I often wear the kind of bloomer by themselves, or a legging by themselves with a top very much like Jack mentioned, a peasant's top. I'm also a major fan of Indian kurtas, which are very breathable fabrics for the summer. I'm a fan of parasols, which are great shade as I really hate the sun. And polyester is a best friend of mine, as well as I have dug up some mesh and net shirts at my recent trip to Goodwill 2 weeks ago that I wore to the Gothic Tea Party in my town of Missoula, Montana.
Yes, we must not forget the Gothic staple, which is very airy and open, and that is our mesh and fishnet clothing. I am sure those breathe quite lovely.
Yes, but we always want to remember under mesh to keep our sunblock on, because having a tan can be so... it just doesn't look well with the makeup when we go to the clubs.
So are we going to go to the swimwear section now? Because if so, I'll give the intro to that. All right. Do you have anything else to say before we go to swimwear?
Oh, crap. Hold on. Sorry. Jack, I'm recording the show. We will start game soon, okay? Are you okay?
Yes, I know you're recording the show.
Okay, no, I'm on the phone with Jack Willin.
Oh, her!
Yeah, so I will talk to you later, okay, loves? Bye. It's game night, so yeah.
So, Coley, do you have anything else to say on there before I go swimwear?
The only interlude I have to add there is that I was born tan, but abhor the sun, so I look pale, but I can't be inevitably pale. So to cut into that interlude, there are tan gossip.
That was very nice. Wait, guys, come. That was a nice intro. I think the way I'm going to edit, you won't be cutting in. So I think you can I'm going to edit you in right where she ended with the suntan thing. Say that again, but without the interlude bit.
Okay. Well, as far as suntan goes, I do not like the sun, but I was born tan, and there are tan goths.
Yes, and I wouldn't call that tan. I mean, because I've seen goths of color, which they're quite beautiful people, I might add, and I've seen them with a tan, I've seen them without, and there is quite a difference. And I actually love the beautiful haunting flesh of a pale goth of color, and by pale I don't necessarily mean white, but there's a very lovely paleness in goths of color.
Oh, I agree. That's one of the things I absolutely adore about the Gothic subculture is if you do it right, it can look good on anyone.
Was that good for you, Coley?
Yes, it was.
All right. So I'm going to edit this stuff out. We're going to go to swimwear. So anyway, I'll do the intro to swimwear now. Ah, but what would midsummer clothing be without swimwear? Hello, we're melting. Wait, what? Some goths like water? Floodlands even? Ah, Eldritch would be so proud.
Of course goths love water. There's the Dead Sea.
Oh, yes, who could forget to float within the Dead Sea? And I must say, I have seen some lovely, lovely Gothic swimwear. Who can forget the beautiful swimwear of the Victorian period? Those beautiful full suits. They look more like Gothic Lolita dresses that were worn by the Victorian women whenever they would go to the water. Or else those lovely striped shorts and shirts worn by Victorian men. Ah, they look lovely. I personally love Victorian swimwear quite a much.
I agree. I very much like the skirts and the long swimsuits, the dress-looking swimsuits. I am a voluptuous goth and feel that these Victorian swimsuits very much flatter my body as opposed to the bikinis that are around nowadays. However, the Iron Fist has come out with some zombie swimsuits that appeal to those that are into horror or dark culture with green and pink and crazy faces that might get me in a bikini on the rare occasion.
Yes, and you know, I recently went to the Rebel Market, rebelmarket.com, and I saw that they had dozens upon dozens of lovely Gothic swimsuits with skulls and studs and many wonderful dark things, spider webs and so forth. It was quite darkly delicious. I also have seen the Heavy Red collection with its beautiful mixture of Victorian and industrial and fetish looks upon their swimwear.
And of course, one of the best parts about Gothic swimwear is that it's kind of made for everyone of every different body type, as Cully was saying. Being able to be a voluptuous woman, a bigger woman, those of us who unfortunately need underwires even in our bathing suits, it feels like maybe we can look just as gorgeous as everyone. In fact, I think we can look just as loathsomely as gorgeous at the beach. And I miss the idea of the Victorian times when going to the beach was a time you made yourself up, and it wasn't just an excuse to go and toss a frisbee around. It was a gentleman's pursuit.
Yes, but you know, of course, at the beach, we're going to have to avoid that big fiery ball in the sky. And so, you know what I suggest? I suggest, and I've always enjoyed it, looking on your calendar and seeing when the next full moon night is, and go to the beach and enjoy a lovely full moonlit night at the beach. I've done it. And the moon shines so bright you can see everything, and there's nothing more romantic than a lovely moonlight stroll across the beach with your darkly beloved.
And we can show a little moon then and just ignore the swimsuit.
Yes, there will be less people there after all. And so you can bring your absinthe there. And who knows what deviant things happen amongst the deep.
Oh, did you say absinthe, honey? Oh, Lord, I love me some absinthe.
Yes.
And what would a goth summer be without some music to go along with the swimming?
Ah, that music. It was fantastic. But, wait a minute. 'tis so much shopping to do. But not every goth is as rich as we wish to be. Not all of us can afford castles with huge closets of clothing. So what about those goths who find themselves on a budget? Well, thankfully, there are some places that you can go. For instance, there is Gothic second-hand stores, like the Velvet Garden, which I have been shopping at for about 15 or 12 or some odd years now, many, many years, in which those of a dark inclination who have clothing that they wish to clean out of their closet to put in some new clothing, they do not have to throw it out. Why would we throw out good clubwear? No, it can be resold to those who will bring it new life. Yes, I have enjoyed many amounts of clothing, books, CDs, albums, and movies from Velvet Garden. It's a lovely place to go, and I highly recommend it. And there are other places that you can goth on a budget. Of course, we should not overlook eBay or goth auctions or Etsy, many places like that.
Of course, there's always some amazing simplicity patterns and other great ways to go about even making your own clothes. I've always preferred the corset patterns at Joann Fabrics and other places like that. Always want to get them on a good weekend. That way you can get them about half off. And I don't know, something about making my own dark duds always makes me feel a little more connected.
Of course, and what is more goth than to die? Yes, die. And remember, that is spelled D-I. Why? Because we hate you.
Hey guys, can we do my last two parts really quickly because they got to put the baby down.
Sure. Which one is the person who wanted to do a review of goodgoth.com?
That was me, but if it can wait till next week, it's just I got to do the entertainment thing really quickly. It's just she's got to put the baby down.
Yes, it's fine. Put it down. That sounds terrible. Okay.
Okay,
so
let me do the entertainment review.
We're going to do things out of order. Don't worry, we'll get to Danny's review. And
okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, she'll do her 2 segments, and then I'll pass the mic to Danny.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
then after
let me
that,
give the intro. Yeah, I'm going to give the
Okay.
intro to you for the entertainment, okay?
Okay.
Wasn't that music delightful? What other entertainment news do we have?
Now, well, I'm glad you asked, Jack. Now, in entertainment reviews, we would like to wish a very unhappy birthday to the comic book artist and writer Ted Nefay. His darkly delightful drawings and stories have been a part of the culture for about 15 years now, back when he and the woefully wonderful Serena Valentino started the Gloom Cookie series. Known for its delightfully dark art, this gothic fractured fairy tale was both a darkly whimsical romance and humorously realistic view of the Gothic subculture. A wonderful mix of gargoyles, cursed princesses, bad goth poetry, and overzealous LARPers. Gloom Cookie's art and writing was as refreshing as a walk in the graveyard on a night of the full moon. And for those of you out there who are as big a fan of it as I am, Serena and Ted will be creating a Kickstarter to release a 15th anniversary hardcover special edition of the graphic novel, something we will keep you updated on here on the Morning Show. Now, after finishing his work on the first volume of Gloom Cookie, Ted then moved on to his own series, the Courtney Crumrin series. The story of a young witch in training whose adventures took her to some of the darker and more mysterious places of our nightmares. A disturbingly human look at the way those of our world would interact with creatures of another, having little of the cheery, fanciful whimsy of other titles in its genre, such as Harry Potter or The Worst Witch. Courtney Crumrin is mostly dark deeds, fighting inhuman forces, and realizing, for better or worse, sometimes the best way out of a less than favorable situation is just to experience and learn from it as best you can. He's recently started work on a new comic titled Princess Ugg, but unfortunately I have not been able to read this one. However, the art looks absolutely dreadful, so I have very grim hopes for it. Now it's time to see what other doors we can darken in this woeful world of ours. Tonight we'll be reviewing some of the many loathsome and otherworldly places in Salt Lake City. Now, before I go into the review, I'd like to give a reminder to all of my fellow nocturnal darklings out there that many of these places do have business hours, and while sneaking around in the dark places after hours can be quite a horrible thrill, it could get you arrested or shot at. So please be mindful. To start out with, Area 51 is the primary goth haunt. It's been creeping into the nightmares of Salt Lake City residents for years, and with good reason. It's technically two clubs, Sanctuary, a dark techno-goth club downstairs, where you can rhythmically strut the night away in all of your dark finery. Or if you prefer a harder beat to knock the spikes off your boots, you can head upstairs to the official Area 51. This club is 18 and plus, but does have 2 bars for those of you who are 21 and over. You can access that with a handstand. While this club is quite the loathsome night out, it does tend to get quite a few tourists, especially during the monthly fetish ball. Another to-die-for place to visit is the Salt Lake Cemetery, home of the legendary grave of Lily E. Gray. This woeful tombstone marks the deceased as a victim of the beast and displays a 666 on it. This cemetery has been around since the late Victorian era and has many beautiful monuments, statues, and graves to enjoy a dark snack or impromptu tea party. The cemetery is hidden away in an old Victorian neighborhood called the Avenues, a neighborhood that will literally take your breath away. Many of the original settlers lived in these houses, and it's rumored that many of them never left. And now for the Victorian Goths and steampunkers out there, there is the Beehive House, the house of the Mormon prophet Brigham Young, built in the 1850s. It is still in much of its original and scary splendor. Furniture, architecture, dishes, and even clothes from the second half of the 19th century are on display. Now, while it is a woeful place to visit, I would like to point out that it is owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so you may need to tone down your dark duds to visit. Trust me, it's worth it, and it's free of charge. Okay, so can I just go ahead and throw in my my sign-off then, and you guys can edit it in later?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. And now we are going to go cry in a corner. To all of my fellow goth geeks out there, DFTBA, or don't forget to be awful. Okay, I gotta go, guys. Sorry, she's gotta put the baby down. All right, bye. Sorry.
Okay, so this shows quite the messed up piece of work, isn't it? So where did we leave off before that?
We left off, she jumped to hers, and then we were going to do the album review, so I'm going to pass the mic to Danny.
Go ahead.
Okay. I can read it here. Were you planning on, should I leave space for you to, like, interject at all, or?
You can, but for now, let's not even worry about that. So don't leave space for me to interject. We just want to have. So wait, let me try and think of a good launch off from that. And now that we have used our love, wait, let me try a different one for it. And now that we got on a budget, have been able to find and afford a lovely fashion, what music shall we be clubbing to tonight?
Greetings, listeners. I am Ying Sang, presenter of the vibrations that thrash the soul and enhances the will, often referred to as music. Today, we present an album that must be subjugated to the utmost scrutiny, but I assure you that all opinions will be full of bias and overall loathe. I firmly believe that everything has a time and a place, and the individual's taste in music can vary depending on mood, so although I do intend to cover music that is generally considered dark, I intend to sample all of the genres of dark music, whether it's ethereal, dark wave, death rock, EBM, or any of the subgenres in between. Let's begin. The new album by Tampa-based Ninth Evolution is titled No Devil Lived On. The album was released March of this year and is the 4th full album they've released since their debut. Completely independent, they offer all of their albums as digital downloads for $6.66. Ninth Evolution describes themselves as being a revisionist, noir, pop culture, meld of rock, industrial, and post punk. So, here's my general review of the album. I would first describe their sound as industrial rock. Some musical elements that are similar to Nine Inch Nails, combined with the grungy kind of hard spoken vocals. They're all spoken and delivered. Usually yelling. So you definitely will notice their sound as having more of an American influence rather than European or German, which is of course where you will always find the best goth music. But overall, it's definitely worth buying. You won't get too bored with this album. And it appears every song in this album serves a different purpose. Naturally, with an album with so many different songs, there's going to be some that are better than others. But which ones are better or which ones are worse is really up to the individual. I say a person can like a song for different reasons. Some people like a song due to the tunes or the melodies, or some people like mixing qualities and effects, the instrument usage, or the lyrical content, or the vocal delivery. Then, there are some of us who just want to be able to dance. So, the ravers out here who are tuning in, they'll know what I mean. Now, to give you, the audience, a good feel of what to expect, I'm going to rate this album based on each of the aforementioned categories from a scale of 1 to 10 and give you my explanation of why I rated it thus so. So we're going to start with the music and sound of this album. I have to say, I must give it a 6 out of 10. It is really good industrial rock, lightly synthesized, and you can tell that there's some looping and electronic element to it. Then there's also some live recorded instruments layered on top of that looping. So, that makes it sounds pretty good industrial. For the use of effects, and the effects category would include mixing and mastering quality, how well they layer the instruments and sound, and just the overall wickedness of listening to it with a good set of noise canceling headphones. They're going to get a stiff 5. They're good, but not uber good. But they're okay. For lyrical quality, this is kind of where they suffer, in my opinion. Some of the songs are what I consider to be more romantic geared, but not epic, like end of the world, Adam and Eve type way, but more of a, Twilight type way. So you're not gonna expect, any deeply moving lyrics from this album. The really good lyrics on this album are not the romanticized ones, but are the ones with more political or social undertones. So, because of this, their lyrical rating is a 4 out of 10. So, how are these lyrics being delivered? This category will rate vocal delivery, and I'm afraid they're getting a 2 out of 10. The mostly male delivered vocals are either spoken or yelled in this most annoying little emo way. And I do apologize. I said I wouldn't be biased, but this halfway rapping mixed with really horribly, weirdly out of key singing just did not impress me at all. Some listeners want to know, well, if the vocal delivery isn't that great, the lyrics aren't that good, can we still dance to it? And the answer is no. Danceability rating is 2 out of 10. The songs are more, I say, moody, groovy, You listen to this type of album while waiting on the subway, or at the end of the day when all the clubs are closed and that dreaded sun is starting to peek over the horizon. There was one song titled Annihilation. It was pretty fast-paced, and it had the potential to be danceable. But then it got drowned out by guitars, and there was too many breaks and interruptions. So, you just had to give up. And our final rating. And listen up, kids. This rating is of most importance. This is the darkness rating. Yes, we must determine, after all of this, just how wickedly dark is this album. And for the darkness rating, they do deserve a 6 out of 10. An example will be the intro of the song 15 Minutes, and the lyrics go like, to make a point, just point a gun, and oh so easily you'll get what you want. That's a great example of how this style of vocals that they're presenting should be delivered. I'm not too into the violence side of it, but there was a social meaning if you read the full lyrics to that particular song. It was not more violently, but more politically motivated. The eeriness of the effects and the left channel sync layering created a wicked mental scenery. I know that some music reviewers will combine all of their ratings into an overall rating, but that's rubbish to me. Everyone likes songs for different qualities, with some qualities having more weight to an individual than other. So you decide which one of these qualities are more important to you. So, to review, on the rating of music and sound, 6 out of 10. On the rating of mixing and effects, 5 out of 10. Lyrical content, 4 out of 10. Vocal delivery, 2 out of 10. Danceability, 2 out of 10. And darkness, 6 out of 10. Now, I'm not sure if I'm the only one who usually likes 2 or 3 songs out of almost every album I listen to. So here, we're going to present one of the songs that stood out to me. On this particular song, I really loved the combination of trip-hop sounding beat with the soft effects interweaving in and out of each ear. The lyric delivery fit in this song, with some of the lyrics actually being shower-worthy. And I believe my wife would know how I am with the singing in the shower. There's a purity to being blind to what you can't unsee. That's the quotes of one of those. Oh, let me repeat that. There's a purity to being blind to what you can't unsee. Good show, sir. Good show. If you have any suggestions for albums to review, you can find us online at facebook.com/darkestradio or at darkestjack.com.
I had the chance to listen to some of the songs on this album. I actually found them quite pleasurable. To me, they sound a lot like Trent Reznor's work in Nine Inch Nails' The Perfect Drug Period. I actually quite enjoyed it, and based on the few songs I have heard, I think I would actually rate the album slightly higher than you did. I found it quite enjoyable.
Yes, and there are people who will enjoy this album. I'm just a little bit more critical, Yes, it did sound a bit like Nine Inch Nails. I agree with you there. But do I want to be listening to 90s Nine Inch Nails right now? I'm not sure. So I respect your opinion.
So, Danny, thank you for that. Don't worry, I'm using your real name because we're going to edit this out. This little part here. Thank you. That was a very, very lovely review. In the editing process, I'm going to take out some stuff and rearrange some stuff. But don't worry. The 99% of your interview is going to be there. There is some stuff that I just feel the interview didn't necessarily need. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I hope you don't mind.
Oh, that's fine. Make it sound whichever way sounds best.
it'll make the show flow better. For instance, you know at the end there, you repeated your score of 6 out of 10, 5 out. You already said it once in the show. We don't need that said again. Okay?
Yeah,
So,
just in case you wanted to recap or yep. So it
yeah,
doesn't
no, and
matter.
I understand the recap. I'm just going to take that out because the show tonight is, as you know, sort of rambly and all messed up all over the place, and so I need to make this show flow, and so I'm going to make it flow, and I'm sure you can appreciate, making things flow.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, no
But
problem.
it's
I,
very,
I
very
understand.
good.
There's an editing process.
Yeah. It was a very, very nice review. Thank you very much for sharing that. In fact, I'm going to edit. Yeah. Wait, how do you pronounce your character name, your stage name? Yin Ji Sang?
Ying Sang. Ying Sang.
Ying Sang.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Ying Sang, for your dark review of Wondrous Tunes. There. So I add that.
All right.
So, thank you. You can put your wife back on the air for us to finish up on the show. It shouldn't take more than a half hour to finish up the show.
Okay.
Right.
So we had the album review followed by.
I can't hear you very well.
Okay, so we had the album review. The album review followed by the travel and entertainment.
Well, here's what I want to do. Okay, so as you know, the vast majority of the show we've already done now.
Mm-hmm.
What you and I now need to do is, so I've left in a lot of spots for you and me to talk and to comment on things. Okay, I'm going to try and get this done. Where how Lena mentioned coming back and add some more stuff. I'm going to try and get done quicker than that. And so what I'm going to do is, I've already commented on the album review. You should comment on the album review too. After you comment on that, then you and I together should talk a little bit about Gloom Cookie, or you can add something about, I'm not sure I'm going to add anything for that. And you and I can add little things to the travel thing, and then we can do the end. In fact, we can record the ending right now and then record the whole stuff that I just said, if that makes sense to you.
Sure, that makes sense.
So, yeah, okay. So I'm going to record the ending of the show, and then you and I can go back and give our commentary on the things that I said, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You've just listened to The Mourning Show.
I'm feeling blue. We're signing off.
Okay. Good. So, hey, this is going to be the only one where we did not ad-lib during the end. It's because the show's still butchered. Okay. So.
Okay. As far as the music review goes, since that's probably our second music review, I believe.
What do you mean? We've had a lot of music reviews just there before you joined.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Our third music.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just I'm going to say go, and when I say go, I want you. If you've listened to, have you listened to any of the music?
Yes.
All right. When I say go, just tell our listeners within 2 or 3 or 5 minutes what you personally thought of the album. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 1, 2, 3, go.
I agree with Ying Sang's opinion towards the danceability of the album. It was kind of difficult to dance to, but artistic-wise, because I am a guitarist, and no bias towards the person, because if anybody doesn't know, Ying Sang is Kali's husband who sings in the shower. I think that I liked the beat that this had to offer and the industrial sound that it had to offer, and I am not as biased about guitar sounds because I like to hear a good, well-molded a well-molded guitar riff chord pattern more so than the howling lyrics. However, when writing a song poetically, constructually, I think that they would have gotten around a 8 in my book, around a 5 in the danceability book, and around a 6 for everything else.
All right, good. That's nice. I already gave my commentary. That's already recorded. So now for the internet one. So have you ever read Gloom Cookie?
Yes, I read Gloom Cookie in my Baby Bat middle school days. I really do not like the term Baby Bat. I use that to describe my children, or the children of Goths. I like the artwork and the writing of this author. And as I had mentioned to Lena earlier, that I would have to look back upon these books to give a structuralized review as she did. However, this week on the Mourning Show, we did talk a lot about Harry Potter and fantastical books and the story concept put around in the Gloom Cookies. Where was it?
Do you have something else to add on that?
No, I was just scrolling down the entertainment review to see if I missed anything.
Right, well, I'm going to give my comment. Yeah, you know, I've read a few issues of Gloom Cookie. I haven't really read any recently, and they were fun. I enjoyed them, but and they were fun. I enjoyed them. I'll add those into a sense that makes sense. Sorry. So now for the travel, is there anything that if there's anything that you'd like to comment on the Salt Lake thing, make a comment. Go.
The only time I've been to Salt Lake City has been to the Salt Lake City airport. However, as far as the steampunk goes, I am a fan of Abney Park and Makerworks. And the Beehive House portion that was mentioned is fascinating to me only because Salt Lake City is kind of a Mormon mecca. However, the architecturalization in because so many Goths who are Victorian or steampunk inclined are interested in that architecture part, we can set aside the religion and admire the work that was put into something beautiful like a beehive house. And that would be something that I would be very interested in visiting.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no reason to necessarily put aside a religion. Goths, we are fascinated with mythologies and religions of all sorts. There are many Goths who are fascinated with Judaism or Catholicism or Hinduism or Buddhism or so on, and many Goths can be fascinated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I happen to know several Goths who are devout Mormons, and although I am not a devout Mormon myself, I find much fascination within that faith as I do any faith. It's very interesting, and I have friends just as Leah does. And just as Leah does, I have many friends who live in Salt Lake City, and from what I hear, it is a very nice place to be a Goth, and they have a lovely, vibrant Gothic community.
Another thing mentioned in the travel segment was the cemeteries in Salt Lake City. And to mention, as far as any travel segment goes for dark inclined Gothic travelers, even if a city is a small rural town of 300 people or a large city, be sure to take a look at cemeteries and cathedrals, because even if the town seems like there isn't anything Goth-oriented in it, there's probably an abandoned cemetery or an old cathedral or an old church that can suit your fancy.
Yeah, and I mean, as Lena was talking of the victim of the beast in the grave with 666 on it of Lily E. Gray. Now that is something that I'm really, really fascinated and want to see. You can respond to me.
Indeed. Yes, I agree. I would really like to see that grave. And to touch on that kind of, I know you come from a small town. I was born in Chicago, but raised in a small town. And finding cemeteries like ones you can crawl into or ones that nobody knows about. I spent some of my first couple of months in Montana living in the first founded town in Montana, Stevensville, and it had an old church that was fascinating to me. So no matter what, you can go someplace with an itinerary, which we pride ourselves on the Mourning Show in doing, on telling some interesting places for you to visit if you haven't been there. And you could always just, explore yourself and see what you can find and share it with us later.
And so that brings us to the end of our show. You've just listened to The Mourning Show. So anyway, I tied it all together. And so there we go. That is the end of the recording. Now I have a few hours of painful hell to edit. And it's not.
And yeah, we apologize for that. I apologize for being late and apologize for putting the little snippet in the wrong place because I was like, I know I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah, I did end the recording. Let me end the recording.